basically everything below it's going to stop working. All right, so we're going to talk about how a pistol actually operates and how it goes from being empty to chambering around, firing around, and re-chambering another round. So I have here my pistol. It is empty. Basically how this works is the magazine goes in, there's rounds in the magazine. With the slide lock back, it opens up the chamber, the slide goes forward, it picks up a round, loads it in the chamber, and now it's ready to go. Okay? From here, when the trigger is depressed, it's dropping the sear, the firing pin is going, hitting the primer of the round, it's exploding, the projectile is going out. That explosion is then pushing the slide backwards, okay? It's going all the way back, and again, going behind the magazine of where the round is in the new magazine. As it goes forward, it's feeding another round into the chamber, cycling it into the chamber, and now it's ready to go again, okay? With that knowledge, if at any time the gun is in a situation where it's not fully into battery, it means that there's something blocking it, right? Because if there's nothing blocking it, it would go all the way forward. So having just a little bit of knowledge of how the gun cycles and functions, meaning it goes backwards, it loads the round in, it goes forward, it chambers that round, fires that round, and does the same thing, it will help you in regards to fixing malfunctions and actually identifying what the malfunction is and how to fix it. Okay. Some other things to note is while Glocks and other striker fire guns don't have thumb safeties or external safeties, they do have some internal safeties. So most Glocks have a trigger bar safety, meaning if I don't depress the little trigger bar there, the trigger cannot be pressed. It also has a safety plunger, which if that plunger is not depressed up by the trigger bar moving backwards, the firing pin cannot move forward. And there's also a drop safety back here in the sear block housing that, again, if I drop this gun in this direction and the trigger weight pulls it down, it's not going to actually accidentally go off. Okay, so while it doesn't have external or thumb safeties or backstrap safeties like some other guns, it does have some internal safeties that make this more or less just as safe. Okay, some other options are double action single action like a SIG 226, meaning the first trigger pull is really hard and heavy and it has to bring that hammer all the way back to then hit the firing pin. A big thing if you're running a double single is decocking that weapon every time you reholster it, because that's basically its only safety is being decocked and that hammer is being forward. Okay, I understand that single action trigger press is much nicer and easier, especially from the draw stroke, but you're basically neglecting all the safeties built into that gun by leaving that hammer back in a double single action gun. Okay, that is why guns like 1911s and 2011s have a thumb safety and a backstrap safety, because their hammer's always all the way back. So the only safeties that it has then is the thumb safety and the backstrap safety. Again, you need to have those things both engaged for the hammer to go onto the firing pin. So you need to have those both engaged, meaning the safety's on, the backstrap safety is not being depressed by a rubber band or something around it, because again, you're neglecting the safeties that are built into the gun for a reason, right? These things are generally very safe. It's when we start messing with them to make them cooler, faster, lighter triggers, or whatever the case may be, that's when these things start having problems. Okay, keeping the safeties that are built into the gun are very important, right? So knowing how the gun operates, knowing the safety features in the gun are going to help you later on when we start talking about malfunctions, and if the gun stops working, being able to identify why it's not working and then how to fix it. All right, so we're going to talk about some of the general, parts, nomenclatures of a pistol, okay? So generally this is going to be the slide, the part that goes back and forth, right? The grip is the whole bottom part where you hold on to. Some other parts are the barrel, the muzzle. We have the trigger, obviously. Here we have the magazine release button, which you press this and that makes the magazine then come out, and the slide lock button, right? So you press this up, pull the slide back, and that locks the slide. Okay, it also is a slide release button at the same time. You depress that and it sends the slide forward. So again, going back to understanding how the gun operates, if I had a loaded magazine in this gun and I depress the slide release, I am then chambering a round into the chamber, and this gun is now live, meaning there's a round in the chamber, it's fully seated, and if I pulled the trigger, that round would go off. Okay, so a lot of times I've encountered people that they cycle a round out, lock it to the rear, send the slide home, but they don't take the magazine out, and they think that their gun is clear because they don't understand how it actually operates. So if that magazine is in the gun and it has rounds in it, anytime the slide goes backwards and then forwards, it's going to pick another round up and chamber it, right? So to clear gun, you have to take that magazine out, rack the slide, that round that was in the chamber needs to come out, get a visual and physical inspection of both the magazine well and the chamber to make sure there's nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine well, and then you know that there's no way that anything could be in the chamber because there's no magazine in it, there was no round in the chamber, you saw the one come out, and now that's a clear gun. All right, so how you take Glocks apart is kind of awkward, okay? So meaning I have to ensure that the gun is empty, right? So we just talked about how to check that, get a visual and physical inspection of the chamber and the magazine well, send the slide home. With a Glock, you need to pull the trigger, pull the slide back just a little bit, and this little metal thing right here is the slide takedown bar. You pull that down and pull the slide off, okay? Now once we have this off, we can see some of the other internal parts, right? So right here is the safety plunger. Again, that needs to be pressed up for the firing pin to be able to depress and hit the primer of the bullet. We have our recoil spring here, our barrel, and then back here is the back plate, which holds all the internal parts with the firing pin and the striker sleeve and everything else. So to put it back together, you line up the rails on the slide with the rails of the gun, you pull it backwards, and that's it, it's ready to go.